We want you today and forevermore, which is forever. You're eternal beings. To focus upon your point of attraction. Your point of attraction. And by that we mean, let's clarify it, your point of manifestation. Now your point of attraction has already occurred. You sifted and declared, you sifted the contrast and came to conclusions. You launched these rockets and they exist. You have created a vibrational reality. You have. But you want, it's the reason you're here in these bodies, you want the manifested version of it. You don't want a virtual lover. We know you don't. You don't want virtual money. You want the spendable kind. And so the way it moves from that vibrational place into your manifested experience, where you can explore the deliciousness of it, the specifics of it, and where maybe even others who are sharing your time-space reality may witness your creation of it. In order to do that, you have to take personal, deliberate control of your grid, of your point of attraction. So as we use the word grid today, and we will, a lot, what we're talking about is your point of attraction. And your point of attraction is happening all the time, whether you know that it is or not. In other words, whatever you've been giving your attention to, you've offered a vibration about, and as you offer a vibration about it, law of attraction makes it easier to offer more vibrations about it. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. And the beliefs that you hold make up the grid that you've got going on. Now we want to call your attention to this non-physical part of you, this source energy part of you, because that source energy part of you has a grid going on too. And the goal, what you really want, what you want to do in any moment in time, is to focus in such a way that causes you to offer a vibrational output, which causes you to create a point of attraction, which we are calling your grid, a grid that lines up with the grid of the source within you. And when all of that energy is flowing right up from the core of who you are, now you have power. Now you have clarity. Now you are frisky. Now you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Now you have vitality. Now you have clarity. Now you have all of those things. And the most important thing is that in that alignment with all that you are, your point of attraction, the evidence of it is wonderful to behold. Because when you click in with all of those things that you've been putting into your vortex, then in a meaningful, comfortable, logical, sequential, path of least resistance way, everything that you want to its smallest detail flows into your experience in what you experience as the next logical step. It's just the next logical step. Not something that you're going nuts about. It's the next logical step. If you're in the vibrational vicinity of who you really are, then the next logical step is for it to manifest. And we want to appeal to your logic, and then we're going to throw it open for you to talk about whatever you want to talk about. But we want to appeal to your logic about your grid and about the movement of all that you've been gathering, that has been assembled, and that the cooperative components are already gathered around. About the movement of all of this wonderful stuff that you've created flowing into your manifested experience. We want to remind you that you don't want to eat all of the food that you will eat in this lifetime today. You want to eat some of it today. But you want it to come incrementally so that you can savor it and enjoy it, yes? And the same with the contents of your vortex. You don't want it all today. You think you do. Especially those things that you're standing in conscious awareness of the absence of. Oh, Abraham, I'll just take this and this and this and this and this today. And we say, it's coming. It's coming at the speed and in the frequency and in the path of least resistance, in complete and utter and only response to your vibrational tending to your grid, to your point of attraction. We think you've got it. When your life causes you to really know what you don't want, which causes you to launch powerful rockets of what you do want. And there's a big vibrational variance chronically between how you're feeling a lot of the time and who you really are. That's pressure that is painful. There is not anything worse than to be physically focused in your human form and to be depriving yourself of the expansion that this life has helped you to carve out. And so sometimes because of the circumstances that are surrounding people, and by that we mean most humans, doesn't have to be this way, but it is this way for most. Most humans offer most of their vibration and therefore practice themselves into a grid based upon what they are observing, what's going on around them. So in some situations, you're observing such that's causing huge expansion, but the very observation of the very stuff that caused you to expand is also keeping you from finding an easy way to that expansion. So the crevasse between who you really are, who you've evolved to, and who you're allowing yourself to be is great and therefore painful. So we're talking about all of these ways of going general in order to allow yourself to let the things that you've put into your vortex flow in. And for sometimes the death experience is that path of least resistance. It would be wonderful, we agree with you, if you could have, or if we could have, a meaningful enough conversation with someone who was in that sort of tortured place that we could give them enough attention and enough reason to feel who they really are, that their resistance would soften and they could get themselves into the vicinity where things could begin to flow in. And lots of people like that come to you and to us. In other words, they've been there in despair, but they got close enough to the vicinity that the grid began filling in, and somebody handed them something from someone somewhere on the planet that gave them a piece of information that was the next logical thing for them, you see. Over time, we've been looking for ways that we could convince you of who you really are and why you're really here and how you fit into the bigger picture of all of this. And in doing so, it is our dominant intent to help you to understand that you are key to the bigger picture. The bigger picture does not exist without you. You're the leading edge part of the bigger picture, you see. You are the leading edge part of the whole picture. That's a better way of saying it. The whole picture includes you, and you are an important part of that whole picture. So as you sift and sort and experience life and know what you don't want, there is a knowing of what you do want, even if you can't, well, we should say even if you don't articulate it. Because it isn't the easiest thing in the world, is it? To focus upon what you want and to speak words about what you want when you're right in the middle of what you don't want with all the vividness of that. You were so good at interpreting your time-space reality through your physical senses, you don't even know you're a vibrational being doing that vibrational work. And yet everything you see is a vibrational interpretation. What you smell is too. What you hear is too. What you taste and feel with your fingertips is too. Everything that you are translating is a vibrational interpretation. And you say, no, it's not a vibrational interpretation. It's reality. And we say, but it is reality because you are interpreting it vibrationally. You sort of kind of get that. Sort of. A bit. But there is another part of you that is interpreting vibration that most humans are aware of the sense. It's your emotional guidance. But they're not aware of what it is really saying. They aren't aware of the importance of the guidance that it is. Most people do not accept that there is a larger part of them who exists right here, right now, in this leading edge time-space reality at the same time that they are physically focused. Most have got their soul or the God within them off on some cloud somewhere, detached from there. They think that they might return to that. They hope that they might return to that, many of them. Many of them denied the existence of it at all. But we want you to understand that that source energy part of you is here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right now with you. And you may be vibrationally interpreting it in its fullness, and you may not be. And your emotions are the key. Best we've ever said that. Your emotions are the key to whether you are allowing your awareness of that existence and presence and attention and involvement and co-creation or not. So, in wanting you to understand this, we began by saying, you know, you are more than you see, And many of you said, okay. And then we said, and you create your own reality. Seth coined those words. And many of you said, yes. And then you said, yes. We create our own reality? That seems like responsibility. And I'm certain that I wouldn't create this reality, this specific thing, because I don't want it. Why would I create something unwanted? And we say, we didn't say that you create it on purpose. We said you create it. You create it by your attention, by your focus, by your vibrational stance, by your point of attraction. Because whatever you're giving your attention to has a vibrational frequency. And as you focus upon it, you offer that frequency. You become that frequency. It becomes your point of attraction. And law of attraction answers your point of attraction with other things like it. So when you're knowing what you don't want, law of attraction is saying, well, you might not like this too, here. Oh, you might not like this either, here. How's it going? Want some more? How about this? How about this? Now, the wonderful thing about that is, in knowing what you don't want, you're launching these rockets of what you do want. But the question that we want to put to you is, how long will it be once you've launched that rocket of desire before you become aware that you're not lined up with it and you make some effort to become a vibrational match to it? And that really is what the art of allowing is all about. It's about you allowing yourself to be a vibrational match, not just to what you want, but that's a big thing, but to who you have become as a result of wanting it, who you really have become as a result of the contrast that has caused you to become it. If your life and the way you've been focused has you creating grids that are really out of sync with this core grid of who you really are, and your life causes you to keep adding to that core grid, adding to that vortex, adding to it, eventually the pull of source will be such that it will pull you right into alignment with who you really are. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
You intended to come here, create a grid so that your grids sync up, so that you could allow all that you are to be present now. But really, isn't it splitting hairs about whether you allow us here or whether you reemerge there? It's alignment in either case. It's eternal in either case. It's inevitable in any case. You see. And when you feel really, really good, it means that you are vibrationally up to speed with the expansion that the contrast has provided. But when you don't feel so good, it means that you are not up to speed with the expansion that the contrast has provided. And that really is all we have to tell you. Was it worth the trip? That's it. That's all we've got. Oh, we can fill it in a little if it's necessary. If we can convince you today that you are vibrational here in these bodies, that you are vibrational beings, then there is a possibility that you will find a way of meshing with, of blending with that larger non-physical energy that is really you. And when that happens, then you allow all that you are out here in this leading edge moment. All that you are out here in this leading edge moment. And that's when life is really good. If you're not allowing all that you are out here, not so good. So what do we mean by all that you are? Was it who you were before you were born? Well, sort of, kind of, but there's more. All that you are is all that that non-physical part of you has become as a result of the contrast that you've been living here on this leading edge. Do you understand that? When someone is rude, you want them to be nicer, and that larger part of you knows that and is that and sees that and bees that in a stronger way. When you don't have enough of something you want, you ask for more, and that larger part of you becomes it vibrationally. But often you say, well, that's not really that exciting to me, that there's a part of me that has all the things that I want when I'm standing here without them. And we say, well, you're only without the vibrational manifestation of them. And you say, well, yeah, but that's big. I want the manifestation of them. And we say, we want it for you too. But if you can understand that you've sifted through variety, you've sifted through contrast, you know what you don't want and you know what you do want, and you've launched these rockets of desires, they have preceded you vibrationally, they have been contained in this vortex of creation. It's this acute